Hey guys, what's going on? Uh, so, yesterday I had another epic fail on my audio recording session. So, today's content was meant to be yesterday's content, and yeah, I was doing kind of like another driving video, and what happened was I clicked my Siri button on my phone while I was already recording, and I had a shotgun mic plugged into the phone. And so once Siri activated it, it just pretty much shut down audio functionality for like the next take. So once I turned back on the video, I lost all microphone input. So that was fun. So I got to rehash what I was going to talk about yesterday a little bit today. So yesterday's topic I wanted to talk about was essentially the simple decision-making framework that I got taught in the military, and it's called the OODA Loop. It's the acronym is OODA, and it's probably the best decision-making tool that I understand today and utilize to this day, and anything that I'm making a decision on. And it's really just a simple kind of brain tool. It can be utilized in anything. If you're not confident and making decisions and how your brain needs to kind of process the kind of action steps in your mind of what you need to do to make a decision, this tool, this framework may be helpful for you. And it's all just a mental framework. It's not really writing things down. There's nothing really super complicated. It's just a simple mental framework for you as a primarily built for combat decisions, to get people in the mindset of what they need to be thinking about and what they need to be doing to make combat decisions. And the acronym, the process is 4 simple steps, and then it is cyclical. So it just repeats over and over and over again. Okay. And so it incorporates a couple things. It just takes into observations, requires you make a model of your observations. It requires that you make a decision on your observations and your model, and then act on it. Okay, and those are the 4 simple frameworks. So the acronym is observe, orient, decide, and act. And then you loop back to observe. Okay, so the first step of this framework, and any singular decision that you need to make, okay, you need to make one decision. First thing you need to do is observe the things going on around you. Okay, so that's the first step, is taking in all the sensory information. So your sight, sound. Sorry guys, I'm a hands talker. I know ASL. My daughter's nonverbal, so you'll see me do a lot of hands talking. So you incorporate, back to what I was saying, you need to take in sensory input from all your senses. Doesn't matter what it is, but any singular action or decision you need to make, first step is observe patterns. Not even observe patterns, just observe things. Okay, take in information. Okay, then we move that information that we've just gathered mentally, and we move into orientation. And this is where we start applying a model or modular framework to the information. We start looking at patterns. Okay, so depending on the focus attention of it is, we start extracting patterns. So Let's create a scenario. Okay. So I'm driving as a operator of a vehicle. I'm sitting in the driver's seat, and my first thing I need to do on a repeat thing is observe the world around me. Okay. And once we start going, right, every single second of observation, you'll start noticing a couple things. Things are moving around you, right? If you're driving down the road, cars are following a pattern. Okay. And so from experience, I'm utilizing my own driving experience. And once I've gotten used to seeing car patterns, this is where experience comes in too heavily into driving. You start understanding key patterns. Okay. And so that's the orientation, right? So if you're new, you struggle with understanding patterns and recognizing things. And this is where experience is so helpful in life, is because we have all these experiential observations, and we've already built these pre-existing models, but then it's hard to break out of these models as well. So orientation is just the simple pattern recognition, applying patterns to our observations. Okay. And I keep using the word observations, but these are all the sensory data sets that we take into our body and into our mind, whether it's sight, feeling, hearing, emotional inputs, experiential inputs. All the different inputs that come in are at the observational stage. And then the next part is making patterns of it. Okay. So if you're a driver, you're understanding patterns of the outside world. If you're playing sports, patterns might be player movement, okay? And understanding the predictive movements of where players may be going, okay? So you're anticipating things. So they're showing you something. I see them moving, but based off of player movement, I kind of have an idea of where they might be going out in the future. Okay, so those are orientation models. Okay, and just creation of patterns in our decision. Okay, the third step of the process is decide. Okay, so with our observations, with our predictive models and our extracted models, now we need to come up with a decision of what we want to do. Okay. And so this is now we are extrapolating something of what it is we want to do. Okay. So if you're at work and there's a problem with a customer or something, you've spoken with the customer, you've extrapolated what their problem may be. Okay. Now it's the time to come up with a solution for them, or no solution. And all those different things. If you're driving, you've already made observations of the area around you. You've figured out where the cars are and where they may be going. Now it's your turn to make a decision on what you want to do as the operator of the vehicle. So this kind of works on a lot of different things. If this was in combat, okay, the tactical supervisor of that mission is going to have a lot of players and a lot of key assets moving on the battle plane. Okay. And so they're watching, they're moving, and now they need to make key decisions on what they want to do next. Okay. So that's where they start incorporating mental models and of strategy or tactics. This is the decision part, is where you want to figure out what you want to do. Okay. And again, this is still, still haven't had any application of stuff. So the first three steps are all mental. Okay. And they happen very, very fast. All right. And when you become more proficient at making decisions, this happens almost, this whole process framework happens almost instantaneous, repeatedly. Like I said, I keep using the metaphor of a driver. Okay. So a driver, an experienced driver, can run through this mental model cyclically, I suck at speaking sometimes, over and over and over again, every single second repeatedly for their entire duration of their drive, making repeat observations, repeat model extractions, and repeat decisions on next action to take, or predictive action of what they want to do. Okay. And so that's the fourth step, is the actual create. Once you've formulated what you want to do from your mind, now is when we actually bring it into the world and actually move ourselves or come up with an action of what we want to do. Now, action could be a lot of different things. You can have forward action, like I spoke in another vehicle or video. When it comes to strategy and action, you can have a lot of different movements, okay? On a compass heading, you have 360 degrees of action and then no action. So there's a lot of different optionalities. So depending on the game game of life you are playing, there's a lot of different actions and tactics and strategies you can employ, okay? And so that's the fourth step, is creating the action. Okay, so you go from mental, observe, create a model, decide on something. Okay, and it doesn't have to be related to the pattern. All you're doing is taking observation, creating a model of the world, and then deciding on what to do with that information. Right. So the first two steps are just grabbing something and attaining something and putting it in your mind, and you're like, what do I want to do with this? Nothing, throw it away. Okay, so there's a lot of different things. Okay, so action. Okay, but it doesn't stop there. Okay, so once you've made an action, that is one decision. One. And like I said, as a driver or something in life, we don't just make one decision, right? And this could be down to very, very simple things. Right? Right now I am talking, right? I'm using words. In my brain, I'm doing the exact same thing. Having a conversation. I'm thinking through a little bit, with a little bit of practice, like where I want to go with this conversation. And every word I say that comes out of my mouth, I am speaking something and choosing a word or a sound. And then if it goes wrong, I'm learning to pivot. So the fifth action out of this kind of 4-step framework is reevaluate and start back over. Okay, so we go from action and we go back to observation. Okay, so that's where the looping effect happens. So you have your OODA portion, your OODA, observe, orient, decide, act, and then we loop back to observe. And it just goes over and over and over again about our daily life. From the moment we are awake and we're alert and coherent, our mind is repeatedly, based off of our kind of internal motivations, taking in sensory input, making models of what we want of the world around us, and then creating decisions off of that model, and then creating action from the moment we wake. From the moment you're alert in this world, your brain is already working through that process. Now, the purpose of this video is to kind of help you say, okay, I'm already doing that. Now, how can I do that better, right? Or why do I need to know that I'm doing that? Well, when you're in a situation where you have a very strong goal, it's very, very helpful for you to understand that if you get too focused in on something, especially if you're something that needs tactical actions, you need to remember how your brain mechanically works and understand, okay, I'm having a hard time making a decision on this, so I need to step back and restart the process. Maybe look at things bigger. Okay, I'm having a hard time making a decision. What is the problem? There's probably a problem in one of the 4 steps. Whether you have a lack of information input, you're trying to make a decision and you have 0 information on that to make that decision. Okay, so that's where fear of the unknown comes in from. We have no information on something, so we can't make a decision on it. We get fearful of that, or we have no experiential information on that. So again, fear of the unknown creates a fear of no experience model of what to expect. Okay, so they're kind of very, very similar on those two steps. The fear of the unknown creates two kind of problems. Lack of observations creates an unknown, or lack of an experience of a particular situation creates lack of understanding of the model's predictive output for us. Humans, we really, really like closed loop systems, right? TV leaves us cliffhangers. That's why we love to watch. We have to figure out what happens next, right? That's what that draws us in with the hook. You see it all the time in media. They always give you like this really attention-grabbing hook, right? And it's always designed to give you very, very enticing information, but it's missing a piece, right? Because we're curious about filling the gap and of this information that we're given, and then we want to create a model around it, right? So we can understand it and now apply it to our mind so we can utilize it. So I hope that little bit of information was helpful for you guys. I had some other bits I was talking about yesterday, but I'm not quite sure. I don't remember where I went yesterday with it, but I hope you guys enjoyed this. Please like and subscribe the video if you got any valuable information from it. Send me a comment. I don't have a huge audience right now, so I see all the comments if you see this. So yeah, this is today's video from yesterday. So I hope you enjoyed. Please follow along for this journey. Later, guys. I have no closeout practice, as you can tell.